And it's just made sense. So much of it is it made sense. Sometimes I've been in counseling things or gone to a counseling seminar or something, and I'm like, well, yeah, I might could use that, but it didn't make sense, I
Mm,
guess, for the time in my life or something. And this makes sense. The
mm,
way the steps are through the book and everything, and the way you led us, it just made sense. And I felt like it can be a really helpful process for many, many people. So I have been
mm.
delighted by it and surprised and encouraged and refreshed and all
Mm.
those things. I've loved it.
Awesome. Yeah, it's very practical.
Yes,
Very
exactly.
practical.
Practical.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Okay, Kimberly, what about you? Can you just kind of check in with us?
Yes, it has been a very good experience for me. Just from the beginning of learning that dealing with the loss is not just of a person, that it's a loss, of expectation, hope, or a dream that has just rang so clearly with me, and just on how my perspective about loss in general. So it's been a good eye opener for me, very refreshing, very calming, and just something that I'm going to take forward for when I need to deal with an additional loss. I kind of heard you say where to start now from the relationship graph and on. And so that's like a very good therapy for myself. So I'll know how to do that on my own. So this has been a very good investment of time for me and something that I can use with myself and going forward. So I look forward to dealing with other losses, and I have the tool now to do it, and going through the experience of what it feels like to actually release those things in writing, because that was really good for me, because that's how I kind of deal with things, is journaling. And this provided that, because sometimes people will say, those misinformation things of, oh, you should be over this, you should be over that. And words are not always the things we need to get over, but we actually need to put some action on paper and see like a plan. Like I'm kind of like a planning person, and I need to know what are the steps, the strategies, things like that. So it has checked all of those marks for me. It wasn't just the lecture, it was working and putting all those things together to make a full circle of what I needed, because I didn't just want to hear words. I needed to know what else, like what else is it to it. And this class has provided those tools for me to move forward. So I loved it. It's perfect.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Awesome. That's so great. Can I ask, Kimberly, were you a little skeptical at first?
I wasn't, I just didn't know what to expect,
Okay.
because initially reading the book, I was actually very intrigued, because he was debunking everything about what you've learned about Greece. No, that's not what it is. This is how you handle it. No. So it kept me, pushing me to want to know more about it. So I was actually excited about it once we started reading the book and getting into everything. So no, I wasn't hesitant. I was excited.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, you're a little harder to read. Like your face is a little harder to read. So I wasn't sure if you were like going, I'm not so sure about this, because that's really common. Like people like are kind of skeptical, which makes sense, it's like, but that's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, no, I just I'm just usually, I'm usually just tired. I'm at work 6 o'clock in the morning. I get home about 3, and I'm just usually exhausted, and so my face is probably just very serious. But no, and the other part of it is I'm a thinker. I'm not really a speaker. I do things here. So
Mhm.
yeah,
That's probably why this is such a great program for you, right? Because it
yes,
incorporated that cognitive piece,
yes.
and then it led to the safety of how you feel about what you're
Mhm.
processing. So it's
Right.
really, really used your strength, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, exactly.
that's right. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Brenda V, check in with us.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Whew. Okay. As Kimberly said, the class has been very enlightening.
Mm.
I jumped in the class just because I just jumped in the class. I'm like, it looked like a good class to take. And once I got in the class, I remember in counseling, you always have to do yourself before you can counsel anybody else.
Mhm.
And when you started us on our first assignment, I was like, oh, I forgot about that. I thought about dropping the class because I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I pressed my way, guys. It was rough, but I pressed my way. Y'all know I be MIA every now and then. But the class helped me to understand grieving in a different way. Because, like you said, you think of grieving, the first thing you think about is somebody died. But
Mhm.
as I was going through all our steps that we had to go through, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to do about 100 charts before I can get through all of this stuff.
Mhm. Mhm.
I did y'all know I did my chart on my mother, but then I thought about my ex-husband, then I thought about my first husband, then I thought about my best friend, then stuff just kept going over. Oh my God. And so today, oh my God, as I was doing that letter, things just kept popping, just popping, just popping. I said, you know what, God, thank you for the class. I needed this, and it helped me to see some things that I was holding in that I needed to let go. And I have been truly blessed. And you have been a great instructor. Thank you.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you. And to the rest of the guys, thank you all too. You all have been great. I like the openness. Oh, I forgot to say this too. I was thinking, God, this would be a good credit for Christian counseling, and then I thought that's not what this class is for. But thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I do look forward to using it. And I wanted to tell you, if you do decide to take this on the road, I definitely want to be a part of it.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Well, it's been a blessing having you. And I think what's beautiful is that everybody has their own unique loss, right? Their own unique situation or relationship. And it's so special to get to, walk alongside of you guys. And you guys, you guys like bless each other, right? Like you speak into each other's lives. I haven't had the same loss, that Brenda's had, but I've had other losses, and it's like we bless each other and we help each other with the breadth and depth of the variety of things that we're all struggling with. And so I appreciate that. Yeah, and I'm like you, Brenda. I'm like, oh man, I'm so old. I have so many things I need to get on that list to I'm gonna have a whole book of relationship graphs, right? So yeah, awesome. Okay, so Cheryl, talk to us.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay. First of all, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you. Thank you. And I do agree, the class has just been wonderful. And I've learned a lot. Also, when I first started, I said that I wanted to come to it and see what I could take back to my support group. And I have a lot of stuff that I written down to take back as well. And also, even with I kind of struggled at first as far as the last time we met, as far as to do this completion letter. I just didn't want to say goodbye. And I know it was goodbye to the pain, but as I was even writing and thinking about it, I found out that I think I still was like I don't know if I was even ready to let go of the grieving part. I mean, I don't know if I was ready to let go of the pain, if that makes sense.
Yep.
But anyway, so as I was writing it, and I just wrote, anyway, by the time I got to the end of it, I cried and everything else, but then by the time I got to the end of it, I still felt a sense of I guess happy. I was happy because I was proud, I can say that, because a lot of it that I wrote about, I was just like, man, I did a good job raising my kid. And so I was just happy about it. So again, I would like to say thank you so very much. And I'm like Brenda, yeah, when you get ready to take it, you may be sure and get my number, my address, everything, and call me because I'm ready.
You know, you never know what God's going to do, you guys, with our pain. And, we just never know. And I'm open to whatever God wants to do. I'm in a good place in my own life where I can make some changes and do some adjustments and step into whatever God has. So I don't think this is an accident that you guys are all here, and, we'll pray and see where God leads it. So, yeah. So, okay. Thank you, Cheryl.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, Ace, check in with us.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this class has been very timely for me. I think I recognized what I was doing when Ryan mentioned it in his class the last semester about replaying memories that, and it has an impact with you. So I recognized that, but more than just that, I recognized I need to do something about it. So I think it was perfect that this class, just was timely for me. I think the greatest thing that I'm getting out of it is just us coming together. So I'm very thankful for all of you who have been here, just to hear the things, your struggles in life. And some of them I just made notes on just so that I can apply it to myself, or I can apply it to someone else who might be grieving in the same way. So that's been just to be able to have this group and to work out our pains together, to vent out our frustrations and our hurts from inside and let it just to come out, within this group has helped me a lot. Aside from the journaling and writing, I was already doing those things, but I think just to be able to come together with a group and to work out our processes together helped me a whole lot. So I'm really thankful for all you guys. I remember of something, I think it was in First Peter. I'm not sure, I could be wrong, but he was talking about fiery trials or a trial, but he was encouraging them saying, I know other brothers and sisters who are going through the same thing. So don't be discouraged. And so I guess it's that part of the community part of us to have to come together and work things out. So this is what this group has been for me. A lot of healing has taken place.
Yeah. Community, right? It's about community. And it's amazing that we can have this community even through Zoom, right? And we're all in different places. It's just so cool to see it used for something good, Yeah. And you're so far away, Ace, and look at, like you're just grafted in as if you were just here, that's amazing.
I know.
So awesome. So awesome. Okay. Well, thank you for checking in. Kenva, can you check in with us?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I want to say thank you to the whole group, and especially to you, Miss Kathy, for doing this for us. I think this was really great for me. I took a grief, kind of like a grief, or I won't say recovery class, but it was like a grief class at one of the churches that I attended about 4 years ago when my dad passed away, because he was the first of my parents to pass away. And it was a lot of, these are like healing scriptures, some of the Psalms to read, and hymns that you can sing, and things that you can keep saying to yourself and telling yourself and keep yourself going. And it was more of like a support group than like a class on how to grieve. And I really enjoyed it and was very beneficial, but this was completely different because it's basically showing you, how to grieve. And so I really appreciated that. And I think it was very good for me. And I do plan on keeping on working on things, on other losses on my own. And I don't know if I'll ever get to work with anyone else on it, but I'm definitely going to keep the book and keep working on myself. So I just want to say thank you. And I think it was a wonderful class.
Awesome. Great. Okay. Brenda Grace, as we call her. Can you check in with us?
Yeah, I just was really avoiding getting into any of this. And so it's been such a blessing. And it's, I really appreciate getting to be a part of everybody else's stories with it, you know, that just, it just helps to know other people are struggling, even if the losses are very different. I was surprised too, like Susan was, that I ended up changing who I was going to, the loss that I was going to work on. And but it was good. And I think it was right to do that. And I kept avoiding not wanting to do it. But you mentioning something about, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect at all, you know, just, so I kept letting that go through my head. Just do what you can. Just do what comes up. I'm not going to get it all. And then as things come up, I can still do it. Even if I don't write it down, I think I could still go through the process in my head with some of it, but some of it I'll want to write down. But yeah, it's been very helpful. I've experienced a lot of different types of ways. I've been around hospice a lot, volunteering, and then also with personal family members. And I've never seen anything like this one, like the recovery completion. Yeah. So it's really good. And like I was saying earlier, a friend of mine contacted me and we got together. And so many things she was saying that she's dealing with right now. This is perfect, perfect to help her with. So I'm very thankful to all of y'all, and especially Susan for getting me here, and to Kathy.
Yeah, of course.
For doing it.
Good. Thank you so much, Brenda Grace. I can't wait to meet you someday.
I would love that.
Ron, you popped on. I see your name. I don't see your face, but that's okay. Do you want, oh, here he comes. You got purple on. Nice.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. Can we see your shirt?
Yeah, it's my shirt for my daughter's homegoing.
Oh, I love that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I used to think it was ghetto to get these shirts made, but it seemed fitting for the occasion for my daughter because she wasn't one that likes to dress up or anything. She just kept it casual, so I kept it casual.
Awesome.
Even got me a purple cap. I love caps. So
that's awesome.
That's right, everybody. Hello, everybody.
So beautiful, Ron. So we were just kind of checking in to see how this, like the class in general, like what your thoughts were, and then we're going to go into reading our completion letter. Are you comfortable reading it, or were you able to do it?
Yeah, I wasn't able.
Okay.
It's still fresh, and I began to read. I was reading the book and got to a part in one of the chapters that I couldn't make it further.
Yeah.
But I know it'll come a time to where I'll be able to write that letter. But
okay.
I thought I could, but I just can't.
Okay, that's okay. That's all right. Then we're just glad that you're here. Can you let us know a little bit about what are your final thoughts about the class and kind of what you've sort of walked away with, and how it worked for you?
Well, the class is great. That's why I make sure I attend it every week, except for that 1 week I think I missed. It's been helping me to talk about it, to hear other stories,
Mhm.
especially Cheryl's story, because we have that in common.
Yeah.
The charts, the graphs, and everything. I was able to do the relationship graph. I did complete that. Just everything has been helpful. I mean, from actually seeing in the book about the different stages and knowing that what I got from it was that how the stages rotate. They don't, you're not over one and then go to the next stage and then go to the next stage with so many things in life. But with this process, some of those stages I find regenerating. One of them that hasn't really regenerated in my mind, in my heart, is the regret of the things that I didn't get to do with her. And that's because I did everything as a father for my daughter. And so it was no gaps in the relationship. It was times to where I would even ask her if there's anything that she wanted to share with me about me being a father over the years, This was after she became an adult, and I did it with my other two boys too, because I know that life is not promised. Tomorrow's not promised. And so, like I said, I experienced death before, and I know that regret is one of the main things that keeps a person stuck. I wish I would have did this. I wish I would have said this. I wish I would have spent that time with him. I wish I would have bought him that gift. And so I've been living my life that way for many years now. I call it giving people their flowers while they can smell it.
Mm,
That's how I put it.
that's
Because go ahead. Because once they're in the grave, however they leave here, however loved ones leave here, people are going to leave here. You won't be at the service wishing, saying what you should have, could have, wish you could do. And it's people grieve differently. They put flowers out and stuff like that. But I have in my mind and in my heart that that person can't smell them now. And I think it's nice for people to do it, and people grieve how they grieve. But I believe in spending time with people. I believe in taking care of people and doing for people while they can appreciate it. And so that's my mindset, and that's what's in my heart. But the class has been awesome. It's been awesome. I learned different grieving processes as far as the loss of a marriage, the loss of a job, things like that, things I never thought about that people would grieve over. I always attach grief to death.
Yeah.
I never attached it to relationships and things like that, because relationships I've had in my life, if they ended, if it hurt for a little while, and then I moved on. But some people, it's hard for people to move on from certain things, and everybody have something that they still carry, through their life. And this is one of them. This is the major one that I believe I'm going to carry the rest of my life. So, but the class has been great. I mean, I've enjoyed hearing everybody's stories. I hate that we have to meet like this, but I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been great. It's helped me out a lot, and I now have something that other people that are grieving, that I can help them with when they're ready.
Right.
It's opened my eyes up a lot to a lot of things, and so it's going to help me because I'm in ministry. I'm actually a licensed minister.
Oh, okay.
And so, and with that being said, part of my job is to be there with grieving families. You know, funeral service, or homegoing, or whatever you want to call it. Those services, I'm gonna be called to meet with certain people after the loss of a loved one.
Wow.
So this is helping me out a lot, actually. I may end up taking the class again and actually for a degree.
Cool.
This time it was personal, it's for me.
Yep.
The next time it's gonna be,
Yep.
ministry. So
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Ron.
you're welcome. Thank you.
So glad to have you with us today. Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Kathy,
Right. Yes.
Brenda Veasley put in the text box that maybe y'all can't see it. It says, "Good evening. She's sitting at the hospital with a cousin. That's why she has her mask on."
Okay. Okay, Brenda. Well, wow, we're glad you're here. Are you in a space that's private? Okay. Okay, good. All right, you guys. So like kind of what I was sharing with Ron, right? It's okay if you're not ready to write your letter. But we're hoping that for the purposes of this process that you did. And if you did, I'm wondering if you guys would mind just stepping in, and whoever's ready to read their letter, we're here for you. Who wants to go first?
Oh, Kathy,
Uh-huh.
I have my earplugs in. We're good.
Okay, good. Okay.
Okay. And I can go ahead and read my letter
Okay.
just in case I have to jump off if
right.
the nurse comes in or something.
Go ahead. So, okay, go for it.
Oh, you was about to say something?
I was just gonna tell you we're thinking about is it your cousin? Is that what you said?
Yeah, he's my cousin. He's like my brother though.
Oh,
He had a kidney transplant 10/10 of last year on his birthday, and he hadn't been feeling well, so we ended up here today so they
oh,
can see what's going on with him. But he'll be fine. He'll
okay.
be fine. I trust the Lord.
Okay.
Okay, thank you all.
Mhm.
Okay, so to my letter, it said, and I must say, it was hard, and I have to tell you why. Because today, I was actually planning my mother's funeral this day, April the 5th.
Wow.
And so it made it pretty difficult for me to write this letter. And she died on the 9th of April. Anyway, it says, "Dear Mama, I have been reviewing and reminiscing our relationship, and I have discovered some things, and some I already knew, that I wanted to tell you. Ooh. Mama, I apologize for how I looked at our relationship and thinking that you didn't love me. Mama, I apologize for not recognizing that during my preteen to teen years, that all the time you were away from me so much was because it was your way of making a living and caring for me. I apologize for not realizing that the reason you didn't use or say the actual word love was because you did not grow up with that in your relationship with your mother. Mama, I again apologize for getting pregnant and hurting you. It was not intentional, as you thought. I was looking for love in all the wrong places. Mama, I apologize if I did not spend enough time with you before you passed away. And then on the forgive, I said, Mama, I forgive you for not being there during the years that I felt you should have been. Mama, I forgive you for being angry with me when I got pregnant and pulling a gun on me, threatening to kill me. And for all the names you called me during my pregnancy. Mama, I forgive you for not attending my marriage and wedding. Mama, I forgive you for any and everything that I can't ever remember right now, because that's how much you mean to me. Mama, I want you to know that when you came and took me from my grandmother, it was a scary moment, but a happy one at the same time. You rescued me. Mama, I want you to know that when you gave me my 9 years old birthday party, it made me very happy. Mama, I want you to know that I appreciate you being there for me when the children were born. Mama, I want you to know I thank you for loving me in spite of my own shortcomings. Mama, thank you for our last conversation. And for accepting my being able to let you go without reservation or selfishness. Mama, I want to thank you for anything that I have forgotten to say or thank you for. Mama, like a dove descended from heaven upon Jesus, I see you and see you as a dove ascending to heaven to Jesus. Mama, thank you. Much love, your one and only Brenda K. Dawson Beasley. Ah, that's it.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
What a gift. Okay, someone like to go next?
I'll go next since she's got me crying already. Dear Daddy, I have been reviewing our relationship and have discovered some things that I want to say. But Daddy, I apologize for the times that I talked back to you and acted like a brat. Daddy, I apologize for the times I was disrespectful to you and Mama. Daddy, I apologize for breaking the car. Daddy, I forgive you for the anger you showed at us or that I heard when you spoke to someone else. Daddy, I forgive you for not taking better care of yourself so you could have lived longer. Daddy, I forgive you for being silent when we moved to Africa. I know it was scary. Daddy, I want you to know how much I loved spending time with you. Daddy, I want you to know how thankful I am that you loved Kurt so much. Daddy, I want you to know how proud I was of your love for other people, your generous heart, your great laugh. Daddy, I want you to know that you would be so proud of your grandsons. They have grown to be so much like you. I'm so sorry you missed out on all those years. Daddy, I want you to know that I love you and I miss you. Goodbye, Susan.
Thank you, Susan. Who'd like to go next?
I will.
Okay.
Dear Mother, I've been reviewing our relationship and I've discovered some things that I want to tell you. Mother, when I dated Kent and kept it a secret from you and Daddy, I felt bad about that, and I apologize for not being honest and letting you know. Mother, when I said you never sewed me any pretty clothes, I felt like that hurt your feelings, and I apologize for not being grateful for you sewing my clothes. providing for me at home and supporting me at school events. Mother, you angrily chewed me out for feeling afraid when a strange car pulled up to the Arthos house where I was babysitting. They lived on a private road way out in the country, and it was after midnight when they stole something out of the barn. I was only 12 years old when you yelled at me, and I felt belittled and uncared for. And I know you must have been dealing with your own challenges then. I am not going to let this hurt me anymore. Mother, when you shamed me for licking the salt lick when I was fooled by my brothers at age 3, I felt humiliated, and I forgive you for thinking I should have known better. Mother, when you sometimes treated me like this black sheep of the family, I didn't feel like I belonged. When I moved out at 18, I felt like I wasn't loved or appreciated much of the time, and I forgive you for not realizing that. Mother, after Terry's mom and Clint, Tripp, and Tammy died, you asked me if I even cared about you and Steve and Terry. It hurt me to the core. I was deeply hurting too, but you couldn't see that. I apologize for not being around more, and I forgive you because you were hurting so badly. Mother, I want you to know that when I pulled away from you in later years, I felt like I was your scapegoat, and I couldn't take it anymore. And I want to tell you how it hurt me to do that, but it did help me see our relationship more clearly and become more mentally mature. Mother, I want you to know that when you judged or criticized me, I realized you were coming from a history of thinking that that was the best way to teach me. I felt like I always did things wrong. I wish we could have done better and been able to communicate more thoughtfully. I wished I could have a relationship with you, could have had a relationship with you like you did with Terry. Mother, thank you for teaching me to be honest and hospitable, how to bake mile-high meringue pies, how to live a stable life. Thank you for taking me to church to learn about God. I love you. I miss the fun and special times that we did have together. I wish I hadn't always been so anxious. I look forward to seeing you and Daddy, Steve, and Bruce when we are uninhibited by this world's challenges and can freely greet one another with holy kisses. Goodbye, Mom.
Beautiful. Wow. Beautiful. Who'd like to go next?
I'll go. Dear Daddy, I have been reviewing our relationship and I have discovered a few things that I want to tell you. Dad, when your mom and dad died, I felt very sad for you. And I apologize for not being able to do more for you at my age. Dad, when I went off to college, I want to apologize for not being around at times you needed to talk to someone after your divorce. I was only in high school. Dad, I apologize for not always explaining my silence at times at church or around you in private. Dad, I apologize for not doing more at times when I could have done more at times. Dad, when you didn't know why I wanted to go so far away from college, I felt you should have asked me more questions. And I forgive you for not knowing to ask more. Dad, when you said that I'm too sensitive at times, I felt unseen and unheard. And I forgive you for not knowing how to help me emotionally and how to be stronger after your divorce. Dad, when you took my ministry responsibilities from me and gave to your second wife, I felt unwanted at the church. I felt discarded because of your new wife. You said to me she needed to find her niche and that I would be fine. And I had been there with you since the beginning as a child in our garage church, serving with you as I always have. I forgive you for not knowing that hurt me and it hurt our relationship. Our relationship began to change drastically at that point, and we needed to restart our relationship so that I could continue to feel needed in service and not discarded. Dad, I acknowledge that you are one of the reasons I came to know Christ at an early age, and I'm not going to let any of that pain that I just mentioned control me anymore. Dad, thank you for taking me to my first basketball game, to which I have always loved the game ever since I was 7 years old. Dad, I love the way you always have celebrated our family highlights. You were always my biggest sports fan throughout middle school and high school. I want to really acknowledge that. Thank you for always showing up for me, no matter what I had going on. If I invited you, you were there and you were on time. I could always count on you to show up even when you were the only one there. You were always in my corner with a big smile, a gift, a card, or a hug to make me feel happy and very special. You are a great dad and grandfather. You are valued. I need to let you know that. I am always here to support you. Thanks for always fighting for our family. I want you to know that you are appreciated, you are loved, you're respected. I am so proud of you for always being resilient in all the difficult situations you have had. I often see myself in you, and I want to tell you that you are always loved to the very end. I love you. I miss you. I have to let go of this pain. Goodbye, Dad.
Oh. Thank you, Kimberly. Okay. Who's next?
I'll go.
Okay.
Dear CJ, I have been reviewing our relationship and have discovered some things I want to say. CJ, I apologize for making you leave your elementary school to move out of town. CJ, I apologize for making you leave your friends. I apologize for forcing you to become comfortable at a new school in a new and different environment. CJ, I forgive you for going against my will and picking your friends up from work and other places when what I thought was too late at night whenever they called. CJ, I want you to know how proud I was of you. CJ, I am proud of the mature, loving, and responsible person you were. CJ, you made me proud whenever you kept making Student of the Month. CJ, I'm proud of how smart you were academically. CJ, I am proud of how great you were in sports, from T-ball until playing on the varsity. I was excited when your chess team made it to state. CJ, I am proud of how determined to go to college you were. CJ, you made me super proud the day when you took the test to get into college, even though I told you it was too late. You went up there anyway and was able to take and scored great. You proved me wrong and started college that semester. CJ, thank you for making me a mother and a very proud one. CJ, I'm sad because you're no longer here to talk and laugh with me. I am sad because as soon as you were old enough to really live life, your life was over. CJ, I want you to know I promise to live my life so that I can one day see you again. I love you and I miss you. I have to go now. Goodbye, CJ.
Wow. Cheryl, you said you were proud of yourself for being able to do that. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's hard. Okay. Who's next? We have two more. Okay. Go ahead. Karen.
So I wrote this yesterday, which was the 2nd-year anniversary of my mom's passing. So, dear Mom, I have been reviewing our relationship and I have discovered some things that I want to tell you. When I was a child, I was very confused by some things that you punished me for, and I'm sorry I disobeyed you. But I felt left out when I wasn't allowed to do things on certain occasions, and I'm sorry I went against your wishes. I feel like my relationship with you changed when my sister Christy arrived. I was hurt when it seemed like she was valued more than me. I realized that because she was the baby, she was treated differently, but I don't think it was fair to put her wishes above mine on our birthday. Nevertheless, I forgive you for this. One of the things that hurt me the most was that I felt I could never make you proud of me. It really hurt me when you didn't acknowledge my test scores, and I felt like I was not enough for you. I was further confused and hurt, but I also forgive you for this. I did enjoy a lot of the time we spent together. I just wish that there was more good memories and fun times in my youth. I'm so sorry for all the times that I didn't live up to your expectations and didn't want to have the added responsibilities you placed on me. But as a kid, I was just wanting to be a kid. I am forgiving myself for all of the times that I made life hard for you. I'm also sorry that you had so many illnesses and struggles with your health. It was hard to watch you lose your independence, but I was proud of you for fighting and for maintaining a good outlook throughout your final days. And I'm also proud that you gave me my faith and that even though we were at odds in my early years, we became friends later on in life. I realized that we are so different and that can be a celebrated thing and not a thing to be sad about. I want you to know that you were never a burden to me. I was happy to take care of you and help you, even if I didn't do things according to your standards sometimes. I appreciate that you were not critical of me for things that I didn't do right, and I'm grateful for this. I now feel that I can do things my way and have it be okay. I am learning to live my life without you. I still have you within my heart. I will love you and miss you forever, but I hope to be reunited with you in heaven someday. Goodbye, Mom.
Wow. Thank you, Kenva. Ace, are you okay to read your letter?
Yeah, I'm okay to read. I guess I didn't think I was gonna cry, but you guys made me cry with your stories, and I appreciate the stories that you guys have been willing to be vulnerable to. So thank you with that. This is a letter to from my uncle. Even though it wasn't the most painful relationship that I've had here in the Philippines, it was the most impactful because it was the one that led me to have some distrust with people here. So this is what part, most of it I wrote down, and I guess I'll read it, and if I get to the end and decide to add something verbally, I'll just add it. So Uh, Dear Uncle Abner, woo, I'm sorry that your hopes and expectations of me didn't work out. I really tried to make a go of it. But after seeing your life, your friends, and the unethical business you introduced me to, I made up my mind to separate myself from you and your family. I believed you could understand that. I couldn't become friends with your friends who were drunkards and bribers. I saw that their life, I saw that life, I saw that life, and I know, and I knew that I had to get away. Staying meant that I may have lost my own way and fallen away from grace. I prayed for you repeatedly. I hope you found God. God doesn't turn down anyone who repents with all sincerity of heart. Goodbye. And I guess I'll add some things here too that I didn't write down. But I'd like to say that I forgive you for the things that you've done. I'm sorry that I cut off ties with you. I'm sorry that I didn't go to your funeral. One reason that I didn't go is because I was disabled, but if I was well, I don't know that I would have. What were we? But I did pray for you, and I hope you found God. I'm sorry that things didn't work out. I forgive you. I forgive the things that you've done. And I also forgive myself because I realized that the constant praying for you also was because I felt guilt in my own heart that things didn't work out the way you wanted, the way my dad wanted, and the way that I was trying to make a go of it. So for that, I also forgive myself.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you, Ace. Was there anybody else online that I'm not aware of? Okay. Everybody just take a deep breath. Good. How many of you guys feel like you have a little more emotional space freed up after doing that? Yeah. Can you share a little bit about it? What does it feel like?
I think oh, go ahead, Brenda. You want to go?
No. For me, it was like relief, if that's the right word to use. It was a relief. It's like you think about it, but you think about it, you're just going about your business. But when you actually put thought to it and you sit down and you really meditate on what you're writing, it made a difference. Because it took me 3 days to write the letter. But once I started writing, the emotions came, of course, the visions, the memories, but I could see myself letting go, if that's the right thing to say. And at the end of the day, I had no regrets, even when my mom passed. At the time, I really had no regrets because I did everything I could for my mom. But writing the letter just helped me, like I said, release even the more. So that's how I felt about it.
Okay. What about you, Ace? What were you going to say?
Yeah, I feel like I have more energy now. Not just today. It's been towards as we progressed in this class, I felt it in my own body and my own routine, because I like to get things done. I feel good when I get things done, but I felt like in the past, you know, even though I wanted to get things done, I felt drained. You know, I felt tired frequently. You know, now I'm starting to feel more energy and that I guess maybe my attitude towards life has on the positive side, that I want to get things done, that I'm excited to start my day because I got things done and I want to get done, and it makes me feel good, you know, so that it's making room for energy.
Yep. Yeah, because it takes so much emotional energy to carry stuff and to have unresolved issues and unresolved things that you maybe haven't said, that you didn't even realize you wanted to say or needed to say. How many of you guys had stuff pop up as you were writing the letters that you, like, memories that came up or ideas or thoughts that, yeah, that's really common, right? Because you're sort of activating that piece and in terms of relationally, and you have a place that can go, right? You have a structure for it. Yeah. And then you let it go, and then you have more you have more emotional space available to you. Exactly. Yeah. That's cool that you're noticing it so quickly. That's awesome. Brenda, you're smiling, so you feel that a little more too. And and Cheryl, you even feel that too. That's kind of what you had been sharing. So you had been sharing kind of before we were online here, like that you were like surprised that you felt the way you did. Was that right?
Yes, ma'am. I just kind of, I guess sad because he's not here with me. But then I even said before that because of how the world is today, how I don't know, it's just so cruel to me. The Bible is really being fulfilled, and just seeing how things is happening with young men, and I can just be thankful because here in my city, um stuff has just been going on, and even with um CJ's friends and some of our loved ones, that I knew if he would have been here, he would be right there with them. Because again, as I shared, that I was always getting upset with him because they could call him 2, 3 in the morning and he was gonna go and pick them up. And that was just the heart and he would be like, Mom, I don't know why you get mad, but they needed a ride and this and that. But anyway, it's just, I don't know. And so I can even be thankful that he's not here to be involved in that. And so again, and I just always think about how proud he made me. I mean, everywhere you go, no one had anything bad to say. And and he just left even the week that he passed away. People would come and tell me how he just, I guess, like an angel or whatever, but would come, came by their house out of the blue, just stopped by to see him. It was like he was checking in with everybody before he left. So, that makes me smile. And even in writing the letter, as I say, at first I struggled with it, but then when I did write it, and I even read it to my husband this morning, and he was just looking at me like, and he said, that was hard, wasn't it? And I was saying, yeah, but I mean, it's part of it. And so I'm waiting on him to write his letter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's hard, but I really appreciate you.
I gotcha.
In the book, Kathy, it said that many people go through the course or the counseling sessions, but they don't write their letter, or they write it and they don't read it to someone else. So no healing takes place, and you'll see them at the next session or something like that. We
Mhm.
see people, they were saying, we see people over and over again because they don't finish this last step. And I've just thought a lot about that, about how in God's word, he talks about, if we sin, go to someone and confess that sin to one another, and how healing that is to, even if it's not the person who sinned against you or whatever, you've confessed it and you find some healing. And I think it's the same in a group like this. When we read those letters, healing through the spirit within us all starts that healing process. Don't you think it's something like that? Because the spirit is at work. We can feel it in this group of people. Our, our hearts hurt for each other. Sorry. Our hearts just ache for each other. And but we care so much about each other. And we never even touched each other. I mean, and that's just got to be the spirit at work. And he's causing healing to take place. And then somewhere in it there, they said, you'll read your letter and you may not feel something right away, but the days ahead, you start feeling that release, that more energy that you're talking about, the healing that's taking place. And again, I just think it's the spirit of Jesus at work in us, healing us, being there with us, with community. I mean, I can't explain it, but anyway, I thought that was real interesting that they wrote that in the book.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something so supernatural about community, and like when I said last week how I love you guys, like I truly feel that. Like Cheryl, and I was just gonna say that to you. It's like, there's something that happens in my heart when I get the privilege of walking alongside of each of you. And I really feel like that is it's a really divine, it's an appointment that God has ordained, and his spirit, the Holy Spirit works in us. And in this method they don't talk a lot about it because they want to honor people who are angry with God and angry with their loss, things that have happened, and we respect that. And so we don't want to set up some kind of expectation for you to feel any particular way in your spiritual life. When I got divorced, I was so angry with God because I thought, here I'd prayed for this person, and my whole life I had prayed for the person I was supposed to marry. And then he let me marry somebody who was never going to be faithful to me. And I really struggled with being angry with God about that because he was the one that should have prevented it in my mind. And years later, he told me, that he basically said, you haven't even begun to experience the blessing I have for you by being obedient to me. And you just have to trust me, right? And I know that my children are the blessing, right? And even though I still struggle, I had a lot of feelings about God and about what he allowed in my life. And so, but I can see his plan, the bigger plan, because I wouldn't be doing what I do today. I wouldn't get to walk alongside people who are grieving and have trauma and loss. And I would never have gone that direction. Even though I wanted to, I don't think I ever would have given myself permission to do it because it was really hard. But, I think that there's something so special in terms of what he has for each of you, in terms of how he's appointed particular people for you to walk alongside and to help grieve. I don't think that this is something that goes away. I think this is life-changing in terms of your own experience with yourself. And now you have a tool that you can use. Maybe you use it one time with somebody who needs it. Maybe you never do, but at least you have the tool that's necessary if you need it. And I think that kind of like, Cheryl, to your point about where our world is, I think there are going to be a lot of grieving people in our world. And I think that we need to equip ourselves, equip the church, and we need to be ready to be used, because you have something very powerful now that a lot of people don't have and don't even know that they're missing, right? So be open to the Spirit of God and where He's leading you, and be willing to share from your own experiences and your own suffering and your own pain. Pain is a gift, and it's just hard for us to see it that way, for sure. So, we have about 15 minutes left, and I thought maybe if you guys can if you have any questions or anything you've been thinking about, like I don't have really anything scripted. So Susan, you had a question like before we started here. So I'm wondering if you can share your question with the group, and then we can kind of all sort of glean from, kind of what you were thinking about.
So help me remember exactly how I asked it, and Brenda, you too. I was just talking with somebody today who I felt like could benefit from this. But how do we know with what we have here, these tools that we have, when to use them with a friend, or how to implement them? We're not professional counselors or therapists. So is it wrong for us to use it even? I mean, not wrong, but I mean, could we cause more harm than good? Or, I don't know. We're not professionals at counseling, but we want to help. So how do we go about doing it? And you had the great answer. So carry on.
Yeah, I was just saying that, I think it's wise to pay attention to people if they're fragile, like if they have like a psychosocial sort of fragility about them, that maybe it's hard for them to process, because you don't want to re-traumatize somebody who isn't ready. Okay. So I think you kind of like assess it from that perspective, and then you could refer them to a professional if you feel like it's out of your purview, right, in terms of what you have to offer. But I want you guys to feel like you're equipped to walk alongside somebody who is grieving, because you are. I'm happy to send you guys blank homework assignments. I can just send them out on the email. I'm happy to do that, so that you have like fresh copies of week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Like, so if you need something like that helps you along, you already have the book. And so if you wanted, you could just go through week 1. This is what we're going to accomplish. Week 2, this is what we're going to accomplish. Right? So I want you to feel like you can walk away with something practical that you can use if you need it, especially those of you who are in ministry settings. And having clean copies of the homework would probably be helpful if you need it. And then you have the book. Really, those are the 2 things that are the most important. So I feel like you guys are probably more equipped than you realize you are. Right? I think the main thing is just finding out from people, hey, how ready do you feel like you are to let go of that burden that's been holding you down, right? Where is the core loss that you feel like is influencing your struggle, right? Maybe it's somebody who's had the loss of a marriage, and they're still like throwing the ex under the bus 3 years later, right? Right? That tells you something, right? It's like they're still really, really wounded and haven't processed it. So maybe you go from that perspective, right? And you ask them, hey, you know what? I've noticed that this really bothers you and it continues to be a struggle for you. Would you want to do some work surrounding that, right? I'm not a therapist, but I'm happy to give you some tools that maybe you could grieve the loss of that relationship, right? That's just an example, because you do have the tools, you guys, you really do. So if you need guidance or help from me, I'm happy to give you any kind of, any kind of information that you feel like, you need. If you want something from me, I'm happy to give it to you. Right. My goal is to kind of help equip you guys to minister to other people. Right. So, does that answer your question, Susan? Do you feel like that's helpful?
Yes, very helpful.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else have a question? No? Okay. Well, I hate to end our class early, but it looks like we might. You guys are like, yay! Anybody have any final thoughts or questions or anything?
Yeah, I have one for you, Kathy. Just, I had a guy also who, came to me a lot because he has some things in his life that he's working through right now and could benefit from this. It's just, I was always tired and I didn't have enough for myself and him. So I couldn't help him. But I think this has really helped me on to where maybe I could help others too. And so I'm just really, really thankful that you had held this class for us. It's helped me along in my healing. And I believe now that it kind of creates a way for me to help others too. So I'm very thankful to you. Thank you so much.
Of course. And I should tell you guys, so the grief recovery method, they actually have a training, a formal training that you guys could become certified to do grief recovery, like straight up real grief recovery through their program. And they charge for it. Obviously, it's kind of a 3-day intensive sort of thing. But they'll certify you and then they'll put you on their network and they'll give you marketing materials. It's kind of it's a little expensive, but they give you the whole like business plan basically. And so, if that's something that you're interested in, you could do that too. And then you could, like a lot of people, just start their own grief recovery their little business, right? Their little cottage business. So, I as a therapist, I have found that once people start doing grief work, if it's not a formal class, they kind of touch on the grief and then they go into other things. And then they kind of come back and touch on the grief, right? Because there's a lot of different moving parts. When you're seeing somebody like me, right? It's not quite so cut and dry in terms of the structure. But they will teach you how to create a class so that there is a structure to it, that you walk away feeling completely ready, completely equipped. And you guys would even more so because you've already done this with me, right? This is sort of a informal kind of like class in terms of, I'm not necessarily teaching you how to do, how to run your own class, which is what they would do, right? But you're going through this on your own so that you kind of know what this feels like to be on the other side of it. Does that make sense? So I'm just kind of sharing that with you because it is an option and it is out there. So, yeah.
That's interesting. And you actually do some other counseling rather than just specifically grief in this, but that was fascinating to me to watch and experience even myself. I thought this was a great tool to use to counsel people because so many of our issues come from loss.
Exactly. I was like beating a drum in grad school because I'm like grief and trauma, grief and trauma, grief and trauma, because it seems like most of what we struggle with as adults come from either a trauma narrative and then subsequently a grief narrative, right? Or because we have something happen and then we never like get beyond our narrative because we develop kind of like week one, right? We develop those coping mechanisms that kind of shield us from the things that are too much for us to hold when we're little. And so we just continue using those same coping mechanisms that worked when we were 5 or 6. And, we're 46 or 56 or 86, right? And we've been carrying the same coping mechanisms in our little toolbox because we haven't actually gone to the original source of the loss to be able to approach it from an adult perspective and resolve it. And that's partly what we're doing here is we're going back to the kind of like what you guys experienced with your letters, right? You're going back to the core of what some of those hurts were so that you could resolve it as an adult with this tool, which then should hopefully change the need for the same coping mechanisms. And then thereby your narrative gets redefined. It gets
Yeah.
changed, right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of what's going on behind it. So to have a therapist taking you through this process, I think is really beneficial. It's unique. Because a lot of grief counselors like that do through the grief recovery method, you have nurses and doctors and ministers. And I mean, you have a lot of different people, teachers, that are in have lots of different backgrounds. But yeah, you're not going to get that psychosocial piece unless you have somebody with a mental health background. And even within a mental health background, somebody who has, I'm very psychodynamic in my approach, meaning that the things that affect us happen from our family of origin or when we're very, very young. And so a lot of therapists don't come from that approach, right? I happen to do that because it just makes sense for me. So if you have a cognitive behavioral therapist, a CBT therapist, they're going to talk to you a lot about, well, if you just change how you think, then eventually it's going to change how you feel, right? And that's fine, but it doesn't really get to the rootedness of why we think and feel and approach things the way we do. So,
Yeah.
don't be afraid, to even seek out a good therapist if you feel like you're noticing things that are coming up that are triggering for you, or maybe there's things that are unresolved for you, that maybe this sort of took a little bit of the fear factor away, and you realize, hey, I have some other things that maybe are holding me back, right? So I saw it, that's kind of my commercial for good therapy, right? Get a Christian therapist, make sure it's a Christian therapist, make sure it's somebody who's done their own work, right? Kind of like what you guys were talking about, you don't want to take somebody through this that you haven't done your own work, because it's a completely different process, right? I think there's a lot to be said for humility and for authenticity. And so you have to get, somebody who's pretty healthy themselves. And then, if you have any questions, feel free to call me or ask me. I'm more than happy to kind of help guide you as well. So, but you guys
Well,
are
thank
awesome.
you.
And
That's
I wanna
really
say-
generous of you.
I want to say to you guys, like, you don't need to be a therapist to do grief work with people. I mean, it helps because I see different things. I'm going to bring out different things. But, I always tell people that come in that are grieving, I'm like, you don't need like you don't have a mental illness, right? You have grief. Very different, right? People that have mental illness and maybe that's kind of, Susan, to your point, we need to really be aware of people who have a mental illness diagnosis or struggle that's going to prevent you from maybe being able to be as effective, right? So maybe that's just something you kind of need to know ahead of time. But if you have someone who's just walking through grief, every one of you are completely prepared to do this work with other people. Because you're not talking about a mental illness situation. You're talking about a grieving situation, right? I do a lot of work with this thing called the Straight Spouse Network because of my own background with my ex-husband and what he went through. And I have a lot of women that contact me who are grieving the loss of their hope, dream, or expectation of what they thought their husband was going to bring into their marriage, right? And so and they're always like, I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. I'm like, you're not, you don't have a mental illness. You're grieving. You're grieving. Right? You might feel like you're losing it, but you're grieving. Right? And I think that's why a lot of people don't go to a therapist to do grief work, because they know that they're sound, they have sound mind, right? It's just that the grief piece is foreign and they don't know how to move through it. Right? So go forth and help people, right? Because you guys can do it. And my old mentor, who was like, I don't know, she's 80 or 90. She said, Kathy, just never underestimate the power of testimony. The power of your testimony is where the spirit moves. Right? And that's true. All right, you guys. I love you, and be safe. And if you email me, I will try to get back to you. I have so many emails. So it isn't that I'm ignoring anybody. It's just hard for me to keep up, but it's better if you text me actually. So, but feel free to email me and I will get you guys any information you might want or need. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to get to know each of you guys. Okay.
Same here.
Kathy, I don't have your number.
Same. Love you all so much.
Love you. I'll give
Take
you my
care.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
It's been a
Take care.
privilege.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Who wanted my number? Somebody wanted?
Cheryl.
Yeah, it's 714-858-7608.
Okay.
I would love to hear from you guys. So I know how you're doing too, because I'll be praying for you. Right?
Thank you. And I will be praying for everyone as well. And Ron, if you're still on here, just know that I got you.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Blessings, you guys.
Thank you.